Or is that some wyvern you're riding? It's Vitra.
I fear it is as Vitra says. We will not survive this on our own. While I am loath to impose upon you again.
I would insist if you did not. 'Tis the very reason we have come.
Then once more I find myself without words to thank you properly. Let us return to the capital and plan our next course of action.
I mean, we're either gonna have to slaughter the monsters because, like, there's no, we have zero way to cure them, no way at all. So what do? Our radiant hosts has eliminated the immediate threat to the city, but it pains me to know those beasts were once my own people. There's no telling when or where the next transformation might occur. We must remain vigilant and steel ourselves for whatever is yet to come. Yeah, cause I don't know. If the Aether rots and decays, and Aether is the form to sustain life, then that means the life essence itself is dying. And the only thing I can attribute that to is, like, maybe if we got some help from the life stream, you know, Hyland maybe, but again, right, Hyland's like the god of stasis, so you can only do what, like, prolong the issue. What the fuck? All right, there we go. Keep going. The Blasphemy Unmasked. I did not think the first 85 quests was going to be a fucking dungeon either. That's pretty cool. Forgive me, my friends, but I must return to Megaduda. The time being. There, I can better manage the crisis and dispatch my troops as the situation demands. In that case, we shall carry out an investigation of our own here in the city. Mayhap the residents can tell us more about the first of the transformations, the conditions under which it occurred. If we can ascertain what exactly triggered these tragic events, it may give us some insight as to a possible solution. Time is of the essence. Let's split into 3 groups so that we may cover more ground. Ase and I will see to Pakas's path. Thankred Nishtola, Trey make to Dharma. I'll leave Artha, Graha, and you, Zoe. I'll leave Artha to Graha and you, Zoe. Any information you can gather on the first blasphemy or the manifestation of the final days here in the city would be most helpful. Once we have completed our respective inquiries, let's reconvene in front of the Megaduda so that we may share what we have learned with the satrap. Okay. Good up to me. Shall we be off then? Artha is home to the high crucible of Alchemia, whose alchemists forged many of our warding scales. That seems as good a place as any to begin our investigation, don't you think? I spoke briefly with Nuhadin, the chief alchemist there, on our last visit. He should be happy to answer our queries. Alright, we're going over here. We kind of tuned the main Aetherite still, right? There's no way. Even though by this point we should be the fucking trusted ally for this place. By a margin. According to this message at the base, the threat has been temporarily disabled. Okay, let's see. That's fucked up too. Like Radz-at-Han had the tower, and now they're the first ones to get the fucking final days, man. Alright, just chilling. Ba, 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 ba. I remember those red eyes. You were the scions who commissioned the scales from us, yes? I welcome you back to the High Crucible. What brings you here in these troubling times? We're assisting the Satrap investigation of the crisis that plagues the current city. You happen to catch sight of any of the creatures? I did. As I was going about my work, I was disturbed by crashing footsteps so powerful that the very ground shook. I rushed outside. I could not believe what I beheld. The night sky was burning. Suddenly, I heard panic screams coming from the direction of Balshan Bazaar. The next instant, a monstrous beast poked its head out from amidst the stalls. A handful of the Radiant rushed to the scene, only to be sent sprawling as the fiend and its minions propelled themselves skyward. So the blasphemy came from the vicinity of the markets. This knowledge may prove useful. Thank you for sharing your tale. Well, I do believe we now know where we should inquire next. The bazaar, then. Da, da, da. It's the House of Splendors. Guess Graha. Textile stall. This is Thanavarian weave. I must say it bears resemblance to the traditional fabrics of Corvus. Small wonder, really. Given that it's just across the water. Not that I'm much of an expert in Corvosi culture, of course. I've not had the occasion to visit my ancestral home since coming to Charlian. Because not, I will never reside there again. That said, in recent days, I felt more acutely aware of my heritage, and grateful for it. It is thanks to my forebears that I inherited the royal eye, and with it, the wisdom of ancient Alog. And so, well, I simply hope that my countrymen are safe. And one day, when the calamity is but a memory, I would like to see Corvus again. Only once. Forgive me, but my shop's closed until further notice. Needless to say, we've more pressing concerns these days. We have come not in search of wares, but information concerning the enormous fiend that tore through the bazaar. Did you perchance witness anything? Afraid not, my friend. I was here the whole time, so I only saw little minions. Made a mess of the place, they did. What was going on? The great big one tore through the west side of the bazaar. Should have better luck asking there. Something the matter, traveler? You're lost, perhaps. I could be of assistance. The offer is most appreciated. We are not lost, but we are in need of information. Might you know anything about the gargantuan beast that rampaged through the bazaar? Aye, I saw it. I wish I had not. I was going about my work when all of a sudden a piercing scream cut through the air. I turned around and there was the fiend, its massive body bursting through the entryway with the force of a tidal wave. And it was gone as quickly as it came. Sisters, have mercy. What is happening to the world? What am I to do? Is nowhere safe? Settle down, friend. The danger is past, at least for now. It's not too painful to remember. Can you tell us what you saw? First I heard the screams, then a horde of ravening beasts come charging toward us. One of them was huge, bigger than a myriad, throwing people about like rag dolls, and was eating them. I hid under the counter, saw others do the same. The shrieking and wailing kept getting louder, more voices in the throng. Beasts and victims, I couldn't tell. I knew not what was happening, I still don't. That's enough, my good man. You were brave enough to share with us your tale. Many of your fellow merchants are safe. The High Crucible, too, has served mostly unscathed. Pray stay close to your friends and loved ones. and rest your body and mind while you're able. I suspect that is most what we can expect from people to tell us around here. I think it's best we find a place outside the bazaar where we might have a rest and review our findings. Judging by their accounts, the transformation had already occurred by the time the beast reached the bazaar. Tore through the west side of the bazaar and headed towards the Aetherite Plaza. In other words, Blasphemy may have first appeared in this vicinity. That being the case, the people in that Mahane can surely tell us more. Ba-da-bum. It's Mahane. Going after that enormous beast, are you? I saw it, including the very instant the poor bastard transformed. The gods for putting me there. It's tired over there, by the window. You men, merchants probably, talking and drinking. Conversation must have taken a turn for the worse. Next thing I know, their leader, I suppose he was, buries his head in his hands, and black mist was swirling all around him. Then his whole body burst apart. There stands a hideous, slavering beast, massive and foul, all gaping maws and bulging eyes. His friends start shrieking, then the black mist comes again until the change takes them too. Stuff of nightmares, I tell you. Nightmares indeed. Incidentally, do you perchance know who the merchants were? I'm a decorator by trade. Not much cause to mingle with their sort. Saw Mahil, the barmaid, chatting with them, though. She might know something. Hello? Oh. I don't know why I went over there because I was like, who is it? Never mind. Even after repairing all that damage, it's gonna take a while for business to pick up again. I mean, the blasphemy? That's what the Radiant have been calling it anyway. I saw it too, we all did. I was standing here on the counter as Mary had poured me a drink. Suddenly, there came this dreadful sound, like a pained, angry groan. It was unlike anything I've ever heard. I turned around in shock, and from this ominous cloud of black mist rose the creature, enormous and ghastly to behold. What happened next? To recall it sends shivers up my spine. By some stroke of fortune, I was able to slip outside before the beast got its claws on me. But the sight that greeted me offered no solace. The blue sky above turned red as blood. Myriad, myself, and the other survivors clung to each other for dear life until the Radiant host came out to our aid. Wait, did I hear you correctly? The beast manifested before the sky began to burn? Certain of it. Windows, here I have a clear view of the sky. I saw nothing out of the ordinary until the beast appeared and began to rage. Interesting. Interesting. Hello there. Welcome to Myriad's Main. What can we get for you? We have come not for libations, but rather for information. A little, yes? We're investigating the so-called blasphemy of the satrap's behalf. We hear it was one of your customers, a merchant, that first underwent the transformation. What can you tell us about him? He was something of a regular here, especially of late. Zal was his name. He ran his own consortium, dealing primarily with the experts of Thandavarian specialty. Zal, bro? It's through him we met Messiah. Bro, that guy was just trying to feed his family, dude. Oh my, yes, the name rings a bell. Did you meet them both on your first trip to Thavnir? If I recall correctly, Zal ran a trading operation in Yellowmad. It was there you made Matsai's acquaintance. Yes, that's the same Kazal, no doubt. Rather successful man, from what I gather. That said, it was clear that he had fallen in hard times of late. Those ghastly towers popping up everywhere cannot have been good for business. Even now the tower's gone, the collapse of the Empire has led to all sorts of problems elsewhere. The market for luxuries is surely not what it once was. Trying times for the head of the trading consortium, indeed. Paul's always a compassionate man, even as his own business suffered. Did what he could to provide for the artisans, fishermen, and many others who counted on him to sell their wares. Indeed. That was the very topic of yesterday's meeting, as far as I could hear. Yet as they discussed matters further, Kazal's tone grew grave and grim. It was then that forgive me, I could not have you recall the memory if it brings you pain. If I could, I would ask just one more thing. Did you notice anything unusual about Kazal in particular? Please, anything at all. Sorry, nothing springs to mind. Perhaps someone else can help you? Kazal lived for his work and had no family that I know of. His employees and associates knew him the best, but they too are lost to us. Still, perhaps his neighbors know something I do not? I can direct you to them. Do you believe it would help? What do you say? Okay, so him getting like grim, almost depressed even, so like maybe hopelessness or something of that fact incites the rot of the ether. That, with everything else, spreads it like wildfire. Oh, interesting. Transformation, sky burning, all that shit. They for bad times. Amidst the apocalypse, Kazal made his home in Kama, a nearby residential area. From what I gather, Kazal lived there since childhood and was known throughout the neighborhood. Kama. The name is new to me. How do we get there? I'll write down some directions. I cannot promise that you will find what you seek there, but if nothing else, it's a start. Come, let's see where this lead takes us. Ba-da-ba-ba. Calm around, I don't think I have that. I'm gonna get it. Ask for directions. Let's see, after leaving the Mahane, we're to retrace our steps and head back to the Aetherite Plaza. See as you go up the stairs and then across the thing. Ba 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 ba. Master directions. From here, we ascend the stairs. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So this is what I thought. Excuse me. You tell me to cross whatever bridge thing. Ah, this must be huge. 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 In which case, we should take the path leading southeast. You're just gonna tell me that. Keep going. This must be Kama. We arrived at last. Let's begin questioning the residents without delay. No doubt someone here can tell us something more about Kazal. Given recent events, I imagine many are taking shelter indoors. Open up, bitch. Da, 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 da. Nice. Okay, can I go in here? Sure can. You come back another time. I just woke up and I'm not exactly in the mood for idle chit chat. That's one way to avoid the panic, I suppose. Pardon an intrusion. You have noticed, but a great danger has come to Thavnair. I encourage you to stay alert, prepare to flee the city should the situation turn dire. But before we leave you in peace, may allow us to ask a question or two. Did you know the local merchant named Kalzal? If so, did you notice anything unusual about him recently? Kalzal? Yeah, I know him. In fact, we spoke just the other day. Like many others, his business was doing poorly. Still, it seemed as though he managed to turn things around thanks to a generous order from Radz-at-Han Fibers. Why? He was particularly dancing in the streets. I haven't spoken to him since, but I assume it all went well. Janapa might be able to tell you more, though. As I recall, he was the one who brokered the arrangement. Janapa at Radz-at-Han Fibers. That's a big point of visit after we speaking to the other locals. Ba, 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 ba. That's all you say? Yeah, I've known since I was a boy. If there was ever a man who was born to be a merchant, it was him. Always early to depart and late to return. He'd spend his days procuring the finest wares and seeking out willing customers. You could say it came to him as easy as breathing. Sadly, business was flagging of late. I was surprised, really, with how dangerous travel has become. He was cooped up in his house from dawn till dusk the other day, no doubt racking his brain for a way to turn his fortunes around. Then at night I heard the door open. I looked out to see Kalzal sitting on a bench, his head hung low, a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders. See, the situation might have been quite dire indeed. Notice anything else out of the ordinary? Nothing to speak of, other than the troubles of his consortium. He was the same old Kalzal, cordial and honest like always. These questions you're asking, has something happened to him? He wasn't caught up in that terrible incident in the bazaar, was he? I don't travel much these days, but my daughters told me not to venture outside. Stuck in here as I am. I've heard little about the bazaar going on. Rest assured, the city is safe now. The situation may change without warning. I urge you to stay close to your daughter and be prepared to take refuge should this travel order it. Okay, we're gonna go to Beta Fibers. The Meaty Ping. Cool. Meaty Ping made Graha. Kermit. Nice, dude. Forgot about that. That is really shitty. But it happens, I guess. Or I forgot that was the dumbest shit ever. Yep, can't TP for escort quests. Forgot about that. I assume because if they made it where you can Aethernet travel, then it's like the same. It's dealt with the game the same way if you just traveled or like TP'd to like a different continent or something. So you just take the escort with you, and people are like, "Oh look, there's Graha at my home, haha," like that kind of shit. I don't know what you gain from that, but. Oh, can I jump on the railing? Nice. like pushed me away. Fuck. It just seems like Calzal was kind of depressed about his business kind of blowing up. Especially if the deal went wrong, then he'd be super depressed, almost hopeless, right? So, if it was dire enough, maybe that matters. Discuss the way to Dharma. If I'm not mistaken, these stairs lead to Dharma. It's quite the sight, the red sky above. In the final days of yore, the heavens burned and the stars fell. Creation magic run amok. Was my assumption when I saw Amuro. Perhaps the ancients believed the same. The terror of a single powerful individual was the cause of their calamity. Yeah, those self-same horrors now manifest themselves before our eyes. What could it be that sets the heavens aflames and turns ordinary men into beasts? Despair. Discuss Uveda fibers. Farming silkworms. This must be Uveda fibers. Where we should find Jinbaha. Jinabaha. What's up, Jinabaha? Please be voice acting. Of course it's not. And hurry, I say. There's no time to waste. Pardon me, but are you in charge of buying and selling here? Yes, we have a few questions that we'd like to. I'm sorry, but I simply do not have time to chat. If you haven't noticed, we have our hands full at the moment. We must carry all of our wares and equipment to safety before those accursed beasts return. In that case, might we be of assistance? Perhaps we should speak when the job is done. Very well. Start by helping us move our equipment. Ask the others where to put it. And you can carry our fabrics. They're in there. Go to the door and speak with Kamala. We'll tell you the rest. Remember, these textiles are our livelihood. Handle them with care. Why'd they have to be a cutscene? I don't get it. What's up, Kamala? This area isn't for employees only. Out. What's that? You've come to help. Oh, praise him, Endurva. Fine stranger, I welcome your assistance. On your way here, you pass 3 storehouses, yes? I'd like you to carry the small crate to Nabrifal Hall by the storehouse near the hatchery. The crate of clothing is for Ma-Nua. And the massive crate there goes to Zamira by the middle storehouse. Watch your back on that one. There's all the crates we have already. Once they're delivered, consider your work here complete. Would you fill it to the strong condition? Okay. Light crate. Sorry. Here you go. There it is. You go to the right place. We thank you for your aid. If you have any crates of finished products such as carpets, clothing, and the like, pray bring them here to our primary storehouse. Crate of clothing, is it? Take that off your hands. What do you think for delivery? How slow that bar was going to move for a second.